Greetings and salutations once again from the Not a Linux Guru Guy channel. Today, as I promised last time, I'm going to look at the tweaks that I do, not only on my Linux Mint system, pretty much any OS I install on any laptop computer. What do I do? This is what happens right after the intro. Howdy! Welcome to the channel and welcome to another episode of Not a Linux Guru Guy. I wanted to let you know that, as I said, we're going to be looking at installing what I do when I first install a system, an OS. What is my usual steps to go through? And specifically, I'm going to be using my example, my Linux Mint system. And like I said before, I think in the last video, I usually install it with Cinnamon on it if I have the ability or option to do that. Xface, if that term. Yeah, that one I can work with that one pretty well too. But yeah, I really like cinnamon. Anything toast right now. Okay, so anyway, get back to the topic at hand. One of the things I want to make sure you understand is I'm not telling you this is how you have to do your system. Nope, this is how I do my system, and you can take and pick what you want from it. Yeah, and I have a installation script bash file that I use to install it. I'll be going over, and I'll have that. I have a link down in the description to indicate how you can download that file and modify it to your heart's desire. Just one note on that. I don't offer any warranties on it or anything. It's yours, your risk. You take the risk when you do it. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to switch over now to my desktop so you can see that and so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Here you go. And I'll be looking at my desktop, and you will see on there my Linux Mint logo, all that good stuff. And you'll see some files over here: home, file manager, pCloud drive, which I use, one of the places I store files on. Hulu, I have Hulu, so this opens up in Firefox automatically, which is one that I need to use it for. But the only thing I use Firefox for, that and downloading some files. Midnight Commander. No, it's not a game, even though it looks like it, but it's actually, you'll see what it is later on. We go through the programs I install. But I just put this launcher here to make it simpler to get into. Alright. So, one of the first things I want to talk about, one of the very first things I do whenever I install a new system on my laptop or desktop or whatever, is I go down here, I click on that, and then you notice up here that there's a cursor blinking, so you just start typing Power Management. Power Manager. Management, some that say manager, some say managements, but anyway, it's Power Management. The reason I do this is because I don't like it whenever my screen blanks out on me. Just my preference. I always like the screen to be always on, always, until I turn it off. So I go through and make sure on AC power is never do nothing when lid is closed. So it won't ever shut down on me that way. Okay? But I change the power button to shut down whenever I press on it. And of course, shut down immediately when the battery is critically low, because if you're on battery, want to save yourself that. So that's power management. That's the first thing I do to go to set everything so that it won't shut out screen. But there's one other thing you often have to do to prevent screen shutdowns. That is screensaver. And there's one word in here and I put a 2 there. Sorry. So yeah, just turn that all off. Delay before starting screensaver? Never. And turn those all off. So yeah, I don't have any screensaver pops up, blocks my computer up. I come back to it. Screensavers are really back in the day when they burned, when screens would burn in the image on the screen anyway, so that's not as much of a concern nowadays with modern screens. So there you go. So those first two things I usually do when I like to make it so my screen doesn't turn off on me when I go to the bathroom or go get something to eat or dig in the refrigerator for a drink or whatever. It'll be there when I come back. Okay, now the next thing I tend to do, from here it can go several directions for what I do next. I don't always do exactly the same order as I'm going to present it here, but yeah, this is what I'm going to do here. Is the next thing I'm going to tell you about is my see here. Now every distro has this in different, any desktop environment has this in a different spot and how it's organized and stuff, but anyway, keyboard. And shortcuts. And that's one thing I like about Cinnamon, they have well organized shortcuts. Go down here to launchers. Now, for some reason, Windows, in Linux Mint, Cinnamon desktop, they don't automatically have some of these things set. Now, usually what is set is the launch terminal, Control-Alt-T is automatically set, and the home folder is often set. Yes, Super E, that's a Windows key and the E button. That will automatically open it up in a different, open up your file manager. But a lot of times you have to go in and you have to put in Super W or whatever keyboard key you like to have for your to open up your default web browser and your email client. I last that on Shift Control T and Shift Control G on the calculator. I don't know how to explain why I use G there, but that's just the one I tend to use. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but the thing is, and this is something to keep in mind when you're setting your shortcut keys, is if you set Shift Control C, something like I used to do with the spreadsheet program I have on here. Yeah, you have problems because then when you go to do a copy and you're in a terminal or something, you have to use the same thing, Shift Control C, but it doesn't do anything when you have a keyboard key assigned to a different thing. So yeah, but these are real handy because then you can just open up things real easy. Also, I have some current shortcuts. I have one for opening up Writer, Calculator. I have a habit of liking to do my keyboard enter keypad enter key as a tab. So I have a file I'll show you in a little bit. The script that switches between the two things, so I can have it act as a tab key or an enter key depending on what I want at the time. And toggle touchpad, that turns my my touchpad off, obviously, and on. Yeah, I don't like that because when I'm typing, even if you set it at the don't mess with it when you're typing type thing, it still does messes with it. And you next thing you know, your cursor's all over the place, doing strange things. I had weird stuff happen, so I turned that off. But I can always turn it back on if I need it for some reason, which occasionally I do. So yeah, I have all those assigned to certain keys. Called touchpad is Super T. Touchpad, yay. So yeah, that kind of thing. So you said your add custom shortcut. You can stand in there, name it, put the command, and then click add when you're done. Then it gives you the then you come down here. I can sign a second key this if I wanted to. I could sign and say, I don't know. Say I wanted to give Control P. Right like that. Or you can remove that by pressing the backspace key, I think. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have to click on it, and then you hit the backspace key, and then it unassigns it like that. So that's how I set that up now. Now the cool thing about that, like I say, is I have most of my programs I use frequently, like my web browser and all that stuff on shortcut keys. If I need to open Writer per se to write, I just do that shortcut key and boom, pops open. Eventually, it has to get going though. Probably the first time I run it since I rebooted the machine again. So yeah, I'll open that or whatever I want to open up. And so there you go. Now, the next thing I want to bring to your attention is you have your choice of text editor. Now, Linux Mint has a pretty good text editor. Right to there. Looks like this. I think the background color was from my making my GNOME terminal that background color. So it probably transferred this color, so you may not look exactly like this, maybe black, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not, but anyway, it gives line numbers over here. So you're gonna open up a script file or something, it'll give the different colors, I think, as well as the line numbers, how many line down. So if something goes wrong on line 5621, you can go right to it. Now, yeah. Anyway, that's one, but I don't frequently use that text editor because that I usually use the terminal, which is right on here, which I could do the Control T anyway. That is Neopets. See, I got how much memory is being used. I have 12 gigs of memory. Excuse me, 12 gigs of memory, and 3.4 CPU, i5 Intel. Terminal. Weapon is my window manager. Router. Sim is my desktop. And there's resolution. Bash version. That's the one that runs the shell scripts. I'll be showing you in a bit how many packages I got installed on the system and how long it's been operation since last reboot. 7 hours. I booted it earlier today. So yeah, it's only been 7 hours. Usually it goes for days without rebooting. Not a problem, but I did an upgrade on some Linux kernels, so I thought I'll reboot those to make sure everything's good on it. So yeah, and I got Linux Mint 20 installed on this. So anyway, now the text editor I tend to use is Nano. That is kind of a command line text editor. and it's one I've gotten used to, so I use it a lot. All these things are whatever you used to, you use them. So you have one you like Vim or whatever, use that. But if you like to only use a graphical, have at it. It's just easier for me to, like, you're gonna edit, let's say you're gonna add solders, I can't even say that, solder file, then you can just say edit, etc. and solders. I'm not sure how it's spelled. Doesn't look right for some reason. I mean, if I had spelled it right, it'd be open up. And it's not writable because this is in the root directory, so I have to use sudo to make it writable. That's another trick there I'm going to show you in a minute too. But yeah, that's nano, and I know. We'll come back to this in a minute. This is a SSH config file, which puts all the defaults for config in there, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Now, it's a little weird. Nano has a few idiosyncrasies to it, like you can't use your mouse. I mean, you use your mouse to move around and stuff, but you really have to use your keyboard keys, like your page down, page up, your up and down and arrow keys to move one line at a time, whatever, or your home and in keys to move to the top or the bottom of the file, or to the end of the lines, beginning of lines, whatever. Yeah, so it's kind of weird in that way, but you can use your mouse to mark things so that you can copy them in the, you either copy them, we'll get into that later. Anyway, that's my go-to file text editor. That kind of, you run that off the command line. Sometimes it's easier to there than bring up this. When it comes, oh, I think I hit the wrong key, huh? You bring up this, and then you go, okay, so I'm going to go up. You go here, then you go to etc. You go down here to, you have to scroll down to get to the SSH. Last time I'm already in there and doing work on the other thing. Whoa. There's solder. In case you want to know how to spell it. Sudo. Oh, that's how. Oh, I was goofed up. I put the O there instead of U. SUDO. Sorry, I was goofed up. Okay. Anyway, SSH. Oh. Here's what we're looking for. See, then you finally bring it up and now you can start working on it. Da 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 da. Now I'm going to change some of this information now that I broadcast it on here. So don't try to hack into my system. SSH. Won't get anywhere. So yeah. Plus, I have a trick that I use, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. Is one of the things I also do is I work on, I want to use this here, Nano, not because of, not for to show off or anything, but just to, for you that I've got this text bigger so you can see what I'm doing here easier. And so I'm going to use this for editing files, plus it's simpler. So, now one of the things I do when I create a bin directory on under my home directory. And There it is, bin. And what I do there is I put all my scripts that I've created or copied or whatever. And I have several here. Some of them are old, like this fixed network manager I used when I used to have Ubuntu, because the network manager on that was finicky. Every once in a while it'd stop working. You had to, and I found out you could use these, so I put the script together. It says fixed network manager. Basically goes in, kills things, and kills what needs to be killed, removes files that need to be removed, and then reboots your machine. Then the network manager will pop up again, working. Some of them are junk files, like junket text. I can delete that. Remove. That's how you do delete in Linux. You don't do DL like in Microsoft command line, but RM. Remove. So remove junket. Write protector. Okay. No more junket. Bye bye, junket. So, yeah, that's good. Now, what we also have here is you have one that I do tend to use is this copy home sh. Now, though, basically it copies my home directory to a backup to my SSD drive. And so I'll take a look at that real quick and show what I need. Notice I also have an info file here. I'll show you what that does here in a minute. But nano copy home h. Okay, so this is a batch file to back up my home directory onto my SSD card. And so I can back up, and I have, obviously I don't use the backup function that creates one big giant massive file that has all the backup stuff in it. Rather, I have it all copied over to individual, like I can go on the SD card and look at his files, all the files I copied over, and I can pull a file from it. I can even open them up there, whatever I want to do. I kind of do that. Anyway, I would explain all this, but it'd be too lengthy. The only thing I do want to show is exclude from. Exclude from right here, there's where I got my info file. So in other words, there's a list of files or in that copyhome.info that it will not copy over to my hard drive. What are those? I mean to my SD card. What are those, you want to ask? See, I'm using the mouse to move the thing. Now you have to get used to these. Are only things where it's a little weirder because they have odd things for like where is, Control W, cut text, Control K, paste text, Control U. That's only if you want it to work in within this one file. It won't. This won't take your text and it won't paste it and cut it to a different file. Usually, once you close this out, text and buffer goes bye bye there. But you can use the Control Shift thing terminal because you're basically in the terminal still at this point, though you're in a program. So I could like copy this, and use Control Shift C. So I didn't put the other key, that key combination or anything else. I can use it. And so anyway, but the most important things here is Control O, which is how you write out the file when you're done, when you want to save what your work you've done. and exit, Control X. Now, if I didn't write out anything, if anything changed anything, hit Control X, you get a help, you get a give you opportunity to save your work. If you wanted to save it, you didn't mean to exit on. Okay, so sorry, my fingers don't want to work right. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so I don't copy over obviously on the dot and the dot file. I don't copy the lost and plus found files. I don't copy any zip, ISOs, or image files. Those are like installation type things. And I usually don't copy those because you gotta re-download and install repositories and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so yeah, anything I download from files I want to re-download. Get the most current version of whatever file it is. Now the other thing, and you see I have a lot of stuff here, but the one I wanted to look at that I wanted to show you all off is this install new packages deb sh file here. Okay, now that is going to be a file that and the reason I have dep on the end is because this is just for Debian based systems. I have another one on my Arch installation on my other laptop, but it's not quite done yet, so I have it to where it'll install some things, but not everything I want to install. I haven't quite figured it all out yet on that end, but anyway. This is common packages I tend to install. So here's what I do. Usually when I get ready to install my personal programs, I use this now. Now you have to put sudo in front of it for it to work, because obviously to install things you got to use sudo. And since it's a script, you don't want to put it in the script, because then, well, you'll have to stop and enter your password every time it asks for it, and that kind of defeats the purpose of putting in a script, doesn't it? Yep. Better just to put the sudo at the beginning, then the script, and that kind of thing. Now, this will be run if they're already installed on here. I got it set to where it won't install them, reinstall them. This is my list of programs I like to install generally. The only thing I don't have listed there for some reason is my Brave browser. I like to install that. That's a little more difficult because, yeah, it's based on Google Chrome basically, but it's got its own installation and everything, unique. Anyway, so I install MPD, which is a music database, which many music programs use, including my one I like, Cantata. It's one of my favorite music player. It's just simple and clean, and just seems to work for me, so I like it. And then Zoom, and installing Zoom. Now, not every distribution, Debian based distribution, will have the Zoom being able to be installed. Like you have vanilla Debian. Yeah, you probably won't find Zoom in their repository, so you have to go a different route to install that. LibreOffice, yeah, it's my go-to suite of applications. I am a writer, actually. Written about 12 novels, I think, on all. And so science fiction, fantasy, rlkoppel.com if you want to look that up. And So I write all my novels in that. Thunderbird is my main email client that I use. Nano, in case it's not already installed. Celluloid, my favorite video player. Midnight Commander, and this is what it is, a powerful command line file manager that you use your mouse and everything on. I'll show that to you in a minute just to see what, so you can see what it looks like. You can write it, you can enter MC right in the text of this of your terminal. Boom! Like magic. You get a full actual file manager and Perl, which is installed mainly for downloading the Brave browser, and putting the keys in and stuff like that. Open SSH server now. I have it to where I can go into my Aspire SF. So every time I install a new, see, this is why I like to have this, because every time I install a new system, I can just run this file and install all my new programs on there. Bada bing, bada boom, I have everything set, including hopefully SSH. I have to tweak it a little bit in the text files, make it more secure than it is out of the box. But then I can log in from this computer to my Aspire computer without ever leaving this room. All right. And then the app transport HTTPS, which is needed for installing the Brave browser. Now, some of these things, notice, are in this list of my program list down here. I'm going to install. That's like this, because most of them you can find using the witch command. I'll show you that in a minute. But this one for some reason can't find that even after it's installed. So you have to use a different method to install that. Some of these I just let them install. It's already there. I'll say, it's already there. Don't need to do anything. Move along. Yeah. See, I have most of those things here in this P list. This is for if I want to install some fonts. And yeah, that's self-explanatory. So now I go into installer programs. I have a for loop here, which goes through this list one at a time. Does which I, that tells you whether this program is installed or not. And if it is, then it skips this whole section here and goes back down, goes back up here until it gets in the list, then moves on down. Otherwise, it echoes it's installing that program and then it does an apt-get. Now, apt and apt-get, what's the difference? Well, in this situation, apt is not an interactive, apt is not a script, non-interactive program like apt-get is. So I have to use apt-get, so I have the Y command, so it automatically says yes to any installation instructions, and it'll install that without me having to do anything to it. App can't do that. It's more the interactive kind where you have to sit there and type yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, maybe, 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 no, no, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's how those are installed. Now, what do I do about the other ones that I want to get installed? OpenSSH server is another one. Just looking, I can't do a which OpenSSH server. But I can look for the file, the config file that I showed, that we just looked at a while ago. If that's there, then it means the server's been installed. If it's not there, guess what? No server. So then it would, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention up there, right up here, this is exit code. So when a command runs successfully, it's 0. Whenever it doesn't run successfully, it has an error, or it didn't find what you were looking for, that kind of thing, it'll have a 1 or greater. Anything greater than 0 means it's not installed. So then it'll go and it'll install up a server. Now the Brave browser is a little bit more complex. This comes off the Brave Brave browser website, basically. I install the app transporter HTTPS here, because if it's not there, and if it is there, it'll just say, it's there, move on. And so then you curl. I think that downloads the keys and installs them. This installs their Brave browser app release s3brave.com repository into my system repository list. Then you update it, install the Brave browser. Once the repository has been added, then you can download it. So then, not a thing will happen if you type this in. Now, I also have a favorite text file that I like to use for my books, Crimson Text font. So that's another one that I have to use specially because I gotta basically check to see if the fonts are installed. Do that, I do a ls on all the true type fonts, and then this pipes it over to grep, which looks for only Crimson. So if it finds any Crimson files there, it'll come out with 0. If it doesn't, then it'll have a 1 there or greater. And if it does have them, then I download them, Perl, from the website where I know they're at. Then zips them into the directory where they go, and deletes out the zip file to clean up and on them all the way. Now some of the deb-based systems don't have access to celluloid, but you can usually install by Flatpaks. So my Flatpaks installation here, blah blah blah. Yeah, you add Flatpaks repo, Flatpak repo, then you install Flatpak. If it didn't install up there, then it'll install here, hopefully. If it doesn't install either place, and you gotta go manually. This one, not sure how much, but Software Office not installed. So yeah, you basically download it, Perl, SoftMaker, blah blah blah. Then you GDebi to install the deb file. Then you run the script, adds the app to the repo. Then you remove the deb file, clean up, and go home. That's it. Now you could add more programs in here, or you could delete some, whatever you want to do. You can not use this at all. You can just do what you want, because this is more for me because I install so much on the other computer that it's simpler to just have a script file I can run, boom, and be done with it. So yeah, I'll put this out on the ability to download it for you, and I'll put the link in the description. I don't think I want to put the outro out yet because it's really not done totally. We'll see if I ever get around to that one. Anyway, you use the same process. You manually try to download it, do everything that's in the app. Most of the things are in the Arch repos, but Brave.com is not. Brave browser's not. Yeah, now there's only one other thing I want to show you what I usually do before I get off of here. Okay, that is go back to my home directory over here, get out of the bin file. Now, there's a file called bash.bashrc. Got it? Good. Now what this is this is run every time you start up your bash file. So there's couple of things in here, 2 or 3 things I want to point out. One is often in these bash files, some of them, each distro has different stuff in here, where they feel like you need to have them to. Most of the stuff you can ignore, but there's a couple of things you want to look at. And that's it down there. Is aliases. Aliases basically commands you or that you can put in keywords or whatever, and you can have it execute different commands. So in this case, this is your directory listing list, I believe is what this stands for, ls list. So list your files directory. And you saw me use this a while ago, ll. Basically gives you a long version list instead of the non-long version list, ls. So instead of going ls and hyphen hlf, I can just hit ll, boom, I get all this like that. LA list all. It will give me all the hidden files as well as the regular files. I rarely ever use this one, but L's there, it lists straight ls. Yeah, I'll show you that in a minute. Hope don't forget. So yeah, so the other thing I want to show you in here, this comes with this Linux Mint comes with this set in there. What this does is if this file, it says if this file exists, run it or import it into here to be run, so to speak. You sometimes will see a dot there. Some systems will use source as the thing. Say source and then the file name of the batch file wants to include in here. Now what this is for is for your personal, private, or things, so if this file gets changed or overwritten or something, you don't lose all your stuff. All I have to do is go back in, put this in if it's not in there. It's simple as do. Now you can put your private aliases over there. I also use it for paths, which I learned the hard way. This file is the one you want to put any path addition, your path statements in. Only one other thing I show you, and you saw that whole the whole thing pop in when I did open up the terminal. That Neopets is what does that. It will open up give you all that system information and a little graphic using text on the other side of it. Peppermint's kind of got an interesting one if you ever look at that. So yeah. So yeah, if you look at this, then you go over here. Now I'm going to show you bash alias. Now here's my own private aliases I put in there. TKP, I don't really use this because I use a keypad mostly. Simpler and faster, rather than opening up a terminal to type in that. But here's one I use quite a bit. Spire LI. Now Spire's my other laptop. This is SSH. I want to change this so I try to use this breaking my system here. But anyway, SSH. And then because I have to put a port, I change the port number in the SSH config file. Yeah, HPLT spire.local. And that brings me over to the computer. So all I have to type in is just Spire LI login. And I get right into the SSH over to that computer. Now, also have a CPH, which stands for copy home. This uses a copy home one I showed you a little earlier to run copy home. So I just put CPH, boom, and it copies everything over to the file that needs updating or updated stuff. Pretty simple. Now here's ones you really want to know about. sapt and snano. Yeah, you can have sudo apt, so instead of typing out sudo this, sudo apt every time, what you have to do pretty much every time you type in apt, just type in sapt, boom. Saves a lot of time that way. And then snano is when you got to edit those system files in the directory, type snano. Right, use sudo nano. And here's my path statement. You have to use this export path equals path and add the bin directory, my personal bin directory onto there. Now in Debian, here's a little catch. Debian, for some reason I don't understand, they don't have user /sbin in the path file. How I find out this is where it needs to go is in either this file or you put it directly in the batch.rc file. Choose to put it over in this file. Yeah, because for some reason they don't have it on there. When I went to add user, nothing shows up, or user add, nothing shows up. It says can't find file because it didn't have the right path statement in it. So I had to include that in here, but I always put my bin directory in the path statement so that if I just type in the command, it'll find it. Alrighty. Okay. So that's timesaver there. Now I'll show you some of the stuff. ls. What else just looks like just list command. What it looks like. It's all directory. Then have now ll boom. la boom. You have all these little .sword, .ssr, .ssh stuff here. And then if I just type L, I get those things. Which gives you a little, what it does is it adds a little slash on the end of all the directories. So it's a directory. Now they use colors on here, which means white ones are files and light blues are directories too, so that's the way you can tell. Put to the last, you can go back over all the commands back like that. Using up or down arrows, you can go back in your command history. And I see, boom, there. Now I'm on my, I just SSH into my Endeavor OS, which is Arch-based system. Notice it's got Pac-Man over there, Pac-Man. Yeah, I remember Arch-based this system. Whenever Pac-Man, it had a little. It's one of the Arch system that has a little Pac-Man going across the screen when you update. I'll give you an idea, assuming there's something to update here. Let's see, Pac-Man. Yeah, I have that as a. That's an alias I use over there. Yeah, you see a little Pac-Man going across there? Synchronizing files. And then red. Now it's got some installations, 13 packages, which I won't bother with that now. But well, I guess I'll bother you with a little bit. Yeah, so it will just update and downloads all packages. A little more involved with process because it does more of a build type thing. So it runs a little bit differently than Arch. Arch runs a little bit differently than the Debian does, but yeah, pretty swifty. Now, the cool thing about these Arch repos, if you're not familiar with how Linux does their thing with the programs, it's not like Windows at all, where you go out, you download a program from a website, install it, and you have to have it eventually come up and come up and where you go to websites, download it from website, and you have to update it from there on each individual file. You almost constantly have all these files wanting to be updated all the time, it seems like. Yeah, here you just do all your things one shot. See there, I updated all those programs one caboodle. Now next time I'll check back on a day or two, and it might have some more updates for me, security updates, that kind of thing. I'm back here to my HP laptop. HPLT stands for there, and yeah, see if there's anything else I was gonna that's about it. Yeah, I'll put that link to the download that file in the description, and that's pretty much it for now. That's how I tweak my Linux Mint system. How I tweak all the systems I get on here, and yeah, you can do it however you want. That's the thing about these. You can configure them so many ways, so many different things you can do. All different kernels on some not so much Linux Mint, but on some of you install different window managers. You can install all these different things and make it your own. So make it your own. Customize. Now, like I said last time, the Linux Mint will work out of the box pretty much for most of your needs. But yeah, most people like to customize it. Do change the background. I'll show you what backgrounds I like to use. And you change background. I like mountains basically. I think it's this one there, the other Tina that has. Yeah, this is one I like to use on occasion. I think it's the one I had last time, yeah. Dude, so I have all this Carlton's Majesty, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, here I am back. Yeah, always, may all your computers run Linux. Bye.